Hi, I'm Danielle from Soulhakker, and I'm here with Rudy Nasif. He is the founder of VivaRays circadian rhythm glasses. He's also a circadian rhythm expert. And today we're going to explore how light impacts everything from our sleep, our hormones, our nervous system, energy, well being, everything that I always talk about, but I want to hear it from the lens of light, no pun intended. Rudy, it's so nice to be able to have this conversation with you. And what's interesting to me is I feel like there's so many people who start businesses in this world. They're biohackers, they're curious. But for you, I know that this comes from more of a personal health journey. So I'd like to just share what is this about and why the interest in light?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, by the way.
Oh, of
It's such a
course.
joy to be here. For me, I like to take you back to a moment that was absolutely revolutionary. And it was 1 a.m., March 2017. I'm literally laying down in bed, scrolling through my phone.
Yeah.
And the blue light is shining on my face. My eyes are burning, and I'm feeling drained mentally and physically. But I'm wired and I'm not able to stop scrolling. And out of a sudden, a video popped up on my feed. It says artificial light is killing us. And I'm sitting there in bed, like literally squeezing my brain, barely understanding what Dr. Jack Rose is saying. But then, what's really interesting, I wake up the second day, and there's this one sentence that keeps coming to my consciousness. And it says, you can't get healthy in the same light environment that made you sick. And I was like, whoa,
Yes.
could this be the reason for everything I've been going through? Like the lack of energy, the constant fatigue, the depression.
So you were feeling you were just feeling like drained and you feel like even were you getting sunlight? Were you doing outdoor activities? What was your lifestyle like when you were feeling this fatigue besides the scrolling? Like what were your habits like?
Yeah, absolutely. So at that time, I had just moved from Lebanon to
Okay.
Canada. So it was winter time and minus 20 degrees outside. And although when I was in Lebanon, I did not have the best light hygiene and light habits, when I arrived to Canada, the scarcity of sunlight made it really difficult. And it was a time in my life when I was really struggling. And I did not start struggling like at that point. Like I could think back and I remember like ever since I was a kid at school, I really struggled. So being in the classroom, I felt like I'm in a prison cell. And imagine this like to me from my perspective as a kid, I'm being asked to sit still, memorize and repeat useless information
Yeah.
under LED lighting that was frying my brain on the inside out. And I could feel the impact of artificial light on me. And all I wanted is to be outside and escape the classroom. So I was diagnosed with ADHD by my teachers.
Interesting.
And I had a very rough childhood because I was literally fighting for my own survival. And I ended up being kicked out from 7 different schools.
7?
Yes, yes, because to me, all I wanted is to be outside. And
Yeah.
I start figuring out the mechanism that the only way for me to be kicked out is to be a rebellious, crazy kid and do crazy stuff.
Right, right.
And I adopted that behavior. And by the time I was like 17 years old, I was honestly exhausted from fighting and resisting. That I did the most heartbreaking thing imaginable. I I literally like gave up on myself.
At
Uh,
17.
yes, I mean, like at 17 years old, like I became like a night owl, a creature of the night, living to party, taking drugs, staying up late, scrolling on social media.
Yep.
And then waking up the second day feeling like a truck has ran over me.
Especially your hours were all confused too because you were going to bed so late. Then I'm sure you were sleeping really late or not sleeping well at all. And all of that just completely throws off your clock.
Absolutely. So I was
Yeah.
like sleeping at 3 or 4 a.m., saying to myself that I'm a night owl, waking
Right.
up at 12 and being like exhausted all day. And I would only get my energy back at night,
Right.
which makes sense because I was living upside down.
Right. It's so against our biology to be living like that, yet so many people have those bad habits. It's like they wake up, the first thing they do, they get their phone, they're scrolling, they maybe don't go outside or they work from home and they're not getting any kind of light or except all this artificial light. And it's such a problem.
Yes.
Wow. So what was the turning point for you that you were like, I need to do something about this?
Yeah, absolutely. So after I graduated from engineering school, I was in Africa working as an engineer for about 3 years.
Wow, cool.
And I got really talented at numbing my pain and my depression. So I was distracting myself with the outside world. But there came a point where I woke up that morning and I was completely paralyzed with sadness and fatigue. And I could not ignore my state. I was like literally looking at the ceiling for so many minutes, unable to even get up from bed or find a reason to do so. So my depression was becoming really unbearable. And I hit rock bottom at that point, and I realized that I wasn't happy
Yeah.
and that something must change. So I literally decided to leave my career as an engineer and I start traveling and with the intention of experiencing different healing modalities so that I could come back to myself. And during that time, I literally tried so many different things. As I mentioned to you before we start recording, I grew up doing a lot of martial arts. So I was already exercising and
Right.
doing martial arts. And I started getting into different diets. So I stopped sugar, I stopped carbs. I turned into a vegan and that did not work. Then I turned into carnivore and then ketosis, then ancestral diet.
You sound
And
just like
what
me, by the way. Like same thing. Yes.
Yes, like many of us who are seeking to come back to ourselves,
Yes.
we just start venturing and trying all these different things. And frankly, I was taking all the different supplements and adaptogens for mitochondrial health and sleep,
Yep.
but still, I felt the same. And the more I explored things, the more hopeless I felt because it was like, oh no, like one more modality that did not work for me.
Hmm.
So back to that moment, 1 a.m. I'm in this basement, and my former partner was really desperate trying to help me because I was really in a bad situation, especially when I moved to Canada and being in an environment where there was no sunlight whatsoever. So she comes to me with an unexpected surprise. She said, Rudy, pack your stuff. We're going to volunteer on an organic farm in northern Quebec. And in this moment, I was like, my face turned yellow and like there was like line of worries appearing on my face. I'm like, how how is it going to help me in any way being on a farm?
Right.
So I had to trust her because that was my only hope. And we drove for 7 hours from Ontario to Quebec. And when we arrived to this farm at night, you wouldn't believe it. For the first time ever in my entire life, I'm in this environment where there's no artificial lights, no electricity, and only a canopy of twinkling stars. Like it felt like wow.
Mm.
Like it felt like I'm coming home for the first time in my entire adult life. I went to bed and I woke up May 1st, 2017. I was exhausted and I did not want to be outside. It was one of the most difficult days of my life. But then, day three, something absolutely miraculous happens. I wake up at dawn, no alarm clock. And for the first time in my entire adult life, I literally felt like energy surging through my veins like electricity. And I
Wow.
was feeling rested and energized.
Well, there was no Wi-Fi either going on. Like, did it have, was it was nothing.
There was no Wi-Fi, no artificial light. So
Yeah.
my only exposure was sunlight during the day, fire and candlelight at night. And I literally went from desperation to inspiration, from
Hmm.
low energy to like energy bubbling through my veins. And I was in shock. I could not digest what was going on. And the experience that literally blew me out. I was on the field in the crop, like weeding the crops. The farmer walks over to me and he leans forward. He places his hand on my shoulder and he says, Rudy, what a powerful focus you have. I've never seen anything like it. And Danielle, like in this moment, I was like, I literally disappeared into a vacuum and came back. And I was like, whoa, like everything I thought to be wrong with me,
You're freezing for a second.
I guess I lost you for a second.
Yes, we're back.
Yes. What
You
did you
said
hear
you
me say
said so
last?
you felt like everything you slept really well, and then you started having energy, and um and you were just telling me like you just couldn't believe how you were feeling.
Yes. And I don't know if you did you hear my experience with a farmer?
Yes, yes.
So yeah, so in this moment, it blew me wide open. Everything I thought to be wrong with me, my ADHD, my chronic fatigue, my depression, I realized, whoa, it wasn't about me. It was my light environment. And this is when I realized that light is is one of the most powerful force that literally controls every aspect of our well-being.
I,
It controls our circadian rhythm, our endocrine system, our mitochondria. So and we're not paying attention to it.
I'm so in agreement with you as I'm listening, and I have a little bit of a different story. But for me, dealing with neurological Lyme and a lot of issues with my nervous system, I became hypersensitive to. I actually even get screen sickness. I've been wearing your glasses. We'll talk about that in a minute. But with a lot of traveling, airports, all that kind of stuff, I am ultra sensitive. I get like completely feeling sick. And I went on a trip to Punta Cana, and as we went there, I heard there's a lot of ticks there, and we ended up getting lost, and we ended up like somehow like in the jungle, and I was like afraid that like there were ticks on me. So I found my way to the beach, and I jumped in the water, and like literally being in the salt water, being in the sun all day. Now I forgot all my supplements. I'm like a person who was on like a million supplements. I was like this biohacker mentality. Left my supplements behind. My diet was still decent, but it wasn't the greatest. But I was getting up early in the morning. There was no Wi-Fi in the house. I was by the beach all day, grounding, sunlight. I felt so amazing. I was like, there's something to nature that is so natural and organic to our body, and like we don't talk about that. And being around all this, everything's so artificial, just like our body hates artificial foods. Like in the same way, it's like processed foods, processed lights, like it's so disruptive, and we're so bombarded. So I'm so fascinated by what you're doing, because it totally speaks to someone like me and people that I work with, especially dealing with chronic conditions, ADHD, chronic illness, things like that. Like we're totally dysregulated. So that is just, it's just fascinating. And that's why I just, when you came out with VivaRays, I was like, what is this? So I want to just share the technology behind it, because I've been using it, and I feel like it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And to touch on light because it's a foreign subject to most people. And when we get into the health and wellness space, everybody is talking about food, everybody is
Yeah.
talking about supplements, which is a very important conversation. But when you start thinking about it from a photosynthesis lens,
Yeah.
you realize that the food chain is but light that is being stored in food. So when we are eating food, we're literally eating light information. And that was a big radical shift in my thinking because I start realizing that light is not just something that allow us to see the world around us.
Hmm.
I mean, you take it for granted. You turn on the light, you turn off the light because you want to see something. But
Right.
in reality, light is information.
I also saw a
And
video of yours that you said you never wear sunglasses. So it's,
absolutely not.
yeah.
Yes, because when you wear sunglasses, you're blocking the most important information that your body is relying upon in order to manufacture energy because light literally affects us on a cellular level
Yes.
and more specifically at a mitochondrial level. And when we speak about somebody who's struggling with Lyme disease, essentially the Lyme disease is shutting down the mitochondria's ability to properly produce energy. Now, in the conventional space, we know that like we eat food, we break down the food into energy, and the conversation ends there.
Yes.
However, when you go at a atomical level, what you start realizing is that the food that you're breaking down that food into electrons and protons, which are light signals and information that are passed along the electron transport chain in the mitochondria to produce energy. Now, here's something really fascinating. Back in 2017, Dr. Douglas Wallace, he won an award for a groundbreaking discovery. And it's absolutely shocking because he said 90% of modern chronic diseases originate from the mitochondria losing their efficiency.
Right.
And what's one big reason they lose their efficiency? It's not what most people think. It's not diet and exercise alone. It turns out one of the big reasons is lack of sunlight and lack of darkness. And I just want to touch quickly on both because it's
Yeah.
a tremendously important conversation. So how does it work? We know the genius Albert Einstein, who contributed so much to physics, but he also contributed profoundly to biology because essentially physics and biology are one field. We have not looked at them this way. Although anything that happens inside happens outside, and everything that happens outside is mirrored inside. And you can see this with Albert Einstein photoelectric effect because he literally showed that when light shines on matter, it excites electron and it generates electricity. Now, this is how plants photosynthesize and how solar panels work. But you may think, okay, like that's awesome, it's cool. Why is that important to me? Because it's how your body works too. Albert Szent-Györgyi, he won a Nobel Prize for his discovery for vitamin C, I believe, but he also discovered that sunlight excites the electrons in the electron transport chain in the mitochondria. And it literally generates a rotating energy that creates the electricity that turns into the energy that the body uses. And in fact, it's now scientifically known that 1/3 of the energy that we eat comes from food, 2/3 comes from solar energy.
So interesting.
Now, another really interesting thing, we know that Lyme disease, any other type of disease, is a state of high inflammation.
Yes.
Now, the mitochondria actually make on-site melatonin, which is completely different than the melatonin that we make at night in order to go to bed. And what's the one thing that causes this mitochondria to produce enormous amount of on-site melatonin? It's sunlight,
Ah,
particularly wide range red and infrared light from the sun. So
right.
the, mi-
People
the,
don't
the
think that. They wouldn't think red light would produce melatonin. They would think it would be, yeah, that's interesting.
yes, and that's a different type of melatonin than the pineal melatonin that we release at night. And it's relatively a new discovery. Most people don't know about this type of melatonin. But essentially, mitochondria always need to have antioxidants. Otherwise, it become damaged. And it needs a cooling system for that oxidative stress. So when somebody is dealing with a Lyme disease or any other type of disease, the reactive oxygen species, the inflammation is constantly increasing. And the
Yes.
mitochondria is trying to deal with that. So the mitochondria requires enormous amount of antioxidant. And most people try to get that antioxidant from food. Like we know that berries, dark chocolate are very effective antioxidants.
Right.
But melatonin is 10 times more potent than the most powerful antioxidant from food. So that's the first cooling system. We get it from sunlight. What happens when sunlight is not there? There's a second cooling system. It's darkness. Because
Right.
we know that when we stop seeing artificial lights after the sunset,
Mm-hmm.
we secrete melatonin from the pineal gland.
Yes.
And this is the second cooling system for the mitochondria. Now, this type of melatonin at night is the highest antioxidant in nature, but it does something really powerful. It sends a signal. It says, hey, cells, let's activate the cellular cleaning crew, autophagy, apoptosis, and mitophagy.
Right.
And those are the programs that literally take old cells and broken cells, either repair them or replace them with brand new cells. And when this program is broken, everything else is broken. And when it comes to Lyme disease, particularly, like the immune system is one of the strongest elements that make somebody heal from such a strong disease.
Absolutely.
And we know that the immune system runs on a rhythm. And the activation of T cells and other pro-inflammatory cells that lead to the activation of the immune system happens not only at night when you sleep, and when you have enough melatonin in your system because you had blocked artificial light after the sunset.
That makes sense. So if you were going to, let's say, therapeutically give someone like a light diet protocol to help with their inflammation, a certain amount of sunlight they need per day, like if it's going outside in the morning or, being outside before the sun sets, like, is there a way that you would have them cycle this so they can get some healing?
Yeah, absolutely. I usually share 7 steps to harness the power of light. Although I think for the purpose of this conversation, we could simplify it to 3 steps.
Okay.
And keep it more simple because 7 tend to be so many, especially if somebody is dealing with Lyme disease or if they're overwhelmed already.
Lyme, I've dealt with people who have perimenopause, people with autoimmune disease, but these are all issues with inflammation. So across the board, it's, or just total nervous system dysregulation, like it's going to help them regardless of whatever their syndrome is. I think this was powerful.
Okay, so some of the steps. Step number 1, one of the most important step, arguably, or by far the most important step, is the following. You wake up and no matter what time it is, you go outside, you face east, and you get sunlight into your eyes. Ideally, you want to try to expose as much of your skin as possible. Ideally, you want to also be barefoot. So you are connected to the electron system of the earth.
Yes.
And one thing about being connected to the electron system of the earth is the earth is, look at it as a discharging planet. So when we are in a high inflammatory environment, say you are in the city, you're living in your living room, the LED lights in the ceiling, the TV is glowing, the Wi-Fi is there. All of these are highly inflammatory.
Yes.
And they increase essentially excess positive charge in the body. When you go and step on the earth, what ends up happening is you discharge all of this excess inflammation into the earth. We know that the earth is a grounding system. We know that when you're wiring your electricity, you always have a grounding neutral that in order to ground the wires.
It's
literally ground the wires of the body.
Yeah.
Yes. So this would be step number 1. Step number 2, as the sun is setting, whether you can see the sunset directly or not, that's a very important time to be outside and to give your eyes that information. Because the nervous system goes, okay, the day is ending. There's a sequence of colors that happen where the blue and green lights start slowly fading away. And then you have more of the oranges and reds, which turn into complete darkness. And that acts as a very important signaling, telling the nervous system the day is ending, start to wind down, and start to activate the parasympathetic nervous system so that we can achieve true homeostasis. And one of the really simple concepts is you could picture all of your life and all of your health moving on a seesaw. And on one side of the seesaw, you have the sympathetic activating system.
Right.
And on the other side of the seesaw, you have the parasympathetic braking system. And our health and wellness is dependent on this balance interchange between those two systems. And it's darkness after the sunset that truly activate the parasympathetic nervous system so that we can be more effective at activating our sympathetic when we are in sunlight.
Yes.
You hear all kind of people saying they're sensitive to the sun and that sunlight is too intense for them. What is essentially happening, those are people who are deprived from darkness. And the more deprived from darkness they are, the more difficult it is for you to actually absorb sunlight without being sensitive to it.
Right. That's interesting.
The third step, when you come back home, the moment the sun sets, religiously, I snap on my evening lenses. Why is that? Because I don't want any information to re-enter my system and confuse my brain about the time of the day. If I go home and I'm sitting in my living room, LED lights in the ceiling, the phone is in my hand, the TV is glowing, all of this is telling my body it's 12 noon at
Yeah.
10 p.m.
Yes.
And this ends up increasing cortisol, the stress hormone, at the wrong time of the day. And what happens when cortisol is high? Melatonin is always low.
Right. Then you're
But it ends up
wired.
being an upside down situation
Yes.
where the body is flooded with a stress hormone that end up increasing our inflammation and shutting down all of the systems that melatonin activate to be able to lower inflammation and heal and repair at night when we sleep.
It's so interesting that you're saying all this because I'm listening and I'm like, okay, first thing in the morning, I always take my dog out to the park right after sunset. I'm barefoot. I do Qigong with him, no glasses. Okay, number one, got that. I come back and I'm doing so many Zoom meetings because I see clients. I actually started, so these are the VivaRays. I should be wearing them on this call, but I wanted to let me not wear my glasses. But honestly, I wear them and it's kind of a talking piece. People are like, what is that? So this doesn't block out all blue light. And that's the thing people should know. Like they think of glasses and they're like, I need blue light blockers. Not during the day. So I
Yes.
wear these in the morning. But then my question is, because there's 3 lenses on this. So then
Yes.
there's an orange lens and I'm like, what time do I put this one on? So I do it around 4 or 5. Is that correct? Or
So the time will constantly change depending on the time
okay.
of the season, depending on where you are on Earth. The
Okay.
concept is that what you are trying to do, you are trying to sync your internal biology to the
Yeah.
time outside. And every clock in your body, and there's billions of clocks, which are essentially controlled by one central clock in the brain called the circadian clock.
Right.
The circadian clock is taking information from sunrise, sunset, and darkness. The moment the sun rises, it tells the brain the day is starting. And in this moment, the body starts secreting cortisol in a healthy way so that you feel energized and ready for the day. In this particular moment, the body sets an alarm also to track sunset and to track darkness so that it can release melatonin at night. So when you are living in a city, you are completely disconnecting yourself from the main source of information that is telling your body about the time of the day.
Right.
And the idea behind the glasses is that you will use it in a way to bring your system back in sync with nature, in sync with the rising and the falling sun, so that your body knows when the day is starting, when the day is ending.
Well, I have to tell you, wearing these just because I'm so sensitive to the light in the screens. Like I get a lot of vertigo from screens. This has really been helping me. But even this is not crazy because I know that other people have experienced this. I've seen people talk about the VivaRays, but when I wear these at night, the red ones,
Yes.
I'm not a great sleeper typically, and I try to have good sleep hygiene where I end up, I turn my TV off, I don't scroll after 9 p.m. Like I know all this stuff to do, but still my husband will have a game on, on the TV, or it's like my phone will go off, and then I'm like, oh, it has something to do, and I end up, sometimes I'm not as good as I'm supposed to be. I've been wearing these. I don't want to knock on wood, but I have not been having insomnia since I've been wearing the red ones. So this is it's crazy how much light it blocks out. And I sometimes will watch a little TV but it blocks it out. It's wild how much it helps my sleep. And one other thing I will tell you is that I travel way too much. I know travel is one of the things that really depletes you. But in the airports and also all that fluorescent light in the airport, sometimes it hits me. Or if I go into a trade show, I'm like, I feel like I'm going to pass out sometimes. I cannot stand all that light. These glasses have saved me. I've been traveling like a maniac, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, I didn't even know they were going to help in the airport so much and going to trade shows. So these are like
Yes.
awesome for that. So I just wanted to share that because for someone who's just around a lot of light, like, wow, they have made such a big difference.
Yes, I will share the mechanism of why they work. I will also share with you a very powerful tip for what to do and how to use the glasses when you are traveling.
Hmm.
So the mechanism, there's no magic there. It's a way of rethinking back to nature's rhythm. And when we're giving the body the right information, then the
Yeah.
body is essentially receiving all it needs to be able to process that and to do what it's really good at doing. The daytime lenses, as you mentioned, they don't block blue light because
Right.
that's a really confusing topic for people. They start hearing that blue light is bad and essentially they wear blue blockers all day.
And they get these crappy ones from Amazon, and it's like they don't work. They're not even healthy for you, and they think like, oh, blocking blue light evil. Like, let me not have that. And so that's why these are so different.
Yes, the Amazon one, most of them could be clear lenses, and those essentially block blue light in the blue purple zone. But if you measure, there's this guy called the spectral colorimeter, which we use when we produce our lenses. You could measure the light that is emitted from every source. And when you measure the light emitted from LEDs, you'll see that there's no blue purple light in LEDs. The
Mm-hmm.
blue light start at 430 nanometer. Clear lenses block up to 420 nanometer, so they're completely useless.
Interesting.
And during the day, you don't want to be blocking blue light because blue light tells your brain it's daytime and
Right.
it increases your energy levels and it tells your body about the time of the day. So the daytime lenses are specifically designed to make the light that is coming from screens and LEDs more harmonious because it's highly inflammatory. It's very rich in a very narrow spike in blue that has been shown to destroy mitochondrial functioning and increase reactive oxygen species in the mitochondria. Now you ask yourself, why is that? Because there's a lot of blue in sunlight and it doesn't happen. The answer is blue light in the sun is balanced and proportionate with other frequencies like yellow, green, orange, and red light. It never comes in isolation.
Right.
And when it comes and when it's packaged in isolation from LED lights, this is when it becomes inflammatory. And that's why the daytime lenses, people wear it and they experience a relief from eye strain, from headaches. They feel more relaxed and
Yes.
they don't feel sleepy. This is because they're getting the good blue light and they're eliminating the inflammatory one. Whereas after the sunset, you want to eliminate all of the blue. And
Right.
this is why the evening lenses, you asked me about the best time to wear them.
Yes.
It depends on when the sun is setting in your location. You are in New York in summer, probably the sun is sets at 9 p.m.
Yeah. Almost like it's a little after 8, but yeah,
Yes, in the winter it sets at 4. So
it's
so
terrible.
so in the winter time I would be wearing the evening lenses at 4 p.m. right after
Right.
the sunset because I want to tell my brain that the day has ended.
Mm-hmm.
And then the nighttime lenses it eliminate not only the blue but also all of the green and it decreases the brightness a lot. This is why it's a very effective tool. People call it
Mm-hmm.
like the sleeping pill for a reason because they
It's
put it and
crazy
they're
how much,
out.
because people are taking, so many supplements to sleep or doing all these things, and it's like and I'm always say like, just get off your Wi-Fi, like make sure you're not looking at the blue light, blah, 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 but you're still getting it, especially if you're living with somebody or just your lights are on in your house, like you can't be in that mode, so it helps so much.
Yes, absolutely. Now, when you are traveling, if you are going, for example, from New York to Europe,
Yeah.
so you want to advance shift your clock
Yeah.
because Europe is happening earlier. So
Right.
in order for you to do this, what needs to happen is 3 days before you start traveling, you want to start advance shifting your clock, meaning you want your day to end earlier. So
Right.
if the sun was setting at 9 p.m. in New York, on day one, I want to make the sun sets at 7 p.m. What do? I wear the glasses at 7 p.m.
Oh, that's smart. Hmm.
And then I will allow myself to wake up naturally an hour earlier because naturally you're gonna sleep earlier when you block the light earlier. And then I do this for 3 consecutive days. And by the time my flight arrives and I'm in the airport, I look at the time, not where I'm at, but in Europe. So if in Europe was daytime, I do not wear the glasses. I allow as much light to enter my eyes because I want to tell my brain it's daytime.
Yes.
If in Europe was nighttime, then I wear the glasses, although it's daytime in the airport.
Right, that makes sense.
So when you are also in the plane, you want to follow that rhythm. You want to tune your time to Europe time. And if it's daytime in Europe, you want to remove the glasses. You want to allow on the plane as much artificial light in your eyes as possible. But if in Europe it's nighttime, you want to block that light. And by the time you arrive to Europe, you have adjusted probably by 3 to 4 hours.
That's wild. Wow. There should be some kind of training, like people should, like people don't know about this and I know like everyone in this industry, and no one's talking about light in the way that you're talking about it. So I think that's so fascinating. How do they? Well, if people want to get the sunglasses, they go to VivaRays.com. So that's and I'll share some information in the notes. But if they want to learn more from you, I know you're sharing a lot of tips on Instagram. Where's the best place to follow? Is it VivaRays, or is it going to you directly? I know there's 2 different accounts.
Yes. So there's my personal account, Electromagnetic Diet, and there's VivaRays. They're both linked. So when I'm speaking about light, we share the information on both platforms. And on our website, you could also sign up to our newsletter. Every Thursday, we do a deep dive on light and different aspects of health, depending on what the community wants to hear about. And we're very deliberate about publishing educational blogs. So when you are signed up to our newsletter, you'll receive those educational blogs every Thursday. And you can also follow a lot of the work that we're doing, the educational work on Instagram at VivaRays, VivaRays.com.
Amazing. This is so fascinating to me and helpful, and I feel like so many people will learn from this, because I know for myself that my healing did not just come through. I was a functional nutritionist in the supplement space. I used to be in the formulation side. Like, I know all about supplements, and I was like, there has to be more to our biology than just like food and supplements. Those are the basics. Like, that's obvious, but sunlight, being in nature, all of that, our circadian rhythms, like that is what we really need to pay attention to. So thank you so much, Rudy, for your time. And I'm really excited to share this information, and I'll leave everything underneath in the notes.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.